Welcome back.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a very special edition of Covered Dish where I wear a wig. That's it. That's the special edition.
That's it. That's a special edition.
hmm
No, you're changing up your cocktail. I see you have a Manhattan.
Some things never change.
Tonight I'm doing a Spanish Rioja. So suck it, Joseph.
Oh, we'll get back to that Oregon Pinot in due time. Don't you worry.
We surely will. Love you, Joseph.
Mm. Girl, I'm wearing a nice festive Western shirt. I don't know what it's festive for. I'm going to a rodeo. And let me tell
Festive
you,
Western.
best
Western?
best Western, my new drag name.
Ooh, my God, that's such a good drag name.
Or am I Red Roof Inn? You be the judge.
Or, yeah, that's true. I'm more La Quinta myself.
I'm
You know
more
what is a great
4 points by Sheraton.
You know what's a great drag name? Storm Surge. Like, not the time, because I'm in Florida, but it's a great drag name.
Well, yeah, because Surge is that's like a great first name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl, tell me about this wig and like, how did we start here? How do we end up here? Where are we? You know what I mean? Just the basics.
Well, Brooke, I want to tell you about that journey, but first, I want your candid opinion of what associations do you have with this look tonight?
Ooh.
And I want you to be brutally honest. Like, tell me who you think she is and where she's going.
I think she's a third grade art teacher substitute. I think
She's not even good enough for full third grade tenure.
yes, but she's the kind of teacher. I had a teacher named Miss Schultz, and Miss Schultz came in every day like an '80s glam model. Like she couldn't even do the dots of blue on the back of the hand turkeys with her. She had her nails. She's like little dots of blue, little dots.
Oh, I
She's
love
always
that.
looking so glamorous.
I
And
love
she's
that.
like big '80s, like the blue and the red lips, and oh my God, loved her energy. And I feel like you're bringing the modern version of like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna teach these third graders how to do Starry Night from Van Gogh, and it's gonna look like fucking shit. And I'm gonna get my paycheck and go home.
Yeah. In a 36-inch lace. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. And I'm not sacrificing my look because I'm surrounded by boogers to not look like a smoke show in the faculty lounge.
No, and I'm not going to explain myself either. Surely not going to explain myself.
I don't have that kind of time. It's
No.
third period.
No, who has the time? You know what? I have to pass out clay, and we need to make 2 sculptures by, third period. So we're on a tight
Mother's
schedule.
Day. You have so many sculptures.
Did you say it's Mother's Day? And those mothers need sculptures. What do you think? Those sculptures are just going to make themselves? I think I'm screaming.
Fuck no.
I'm screaming at all the other teachers in the faculty lounge. Like, what do you think? Those sculptures are just going to make themselves?
Oh, what do you teach? Math?
Oh.
You think kids need math?
Good for
You
you.
think your parents care?
Try having your clothes irreparably stained with oil paint. Then come talk to me.
And they're like, why are you using oil paints for third graders? And you're like, that's not the point.
Don't worry about it. The district slashed my budget.
They are very carcinogenic.
Yeah, they are. Oh, girls, let me tell you what actually happened, okay? I got home from work, and I looked like, Cynthia from the Rugrats. You know that doll with all the hair cut off?
Oh, Cynthia, get in the chat. We've all been there, girl.
Yeah. Windswept, hanging onto my scalp by a couple wisps of dry shampoo and a fucking prayer. So, I was about to put more dry shampoo onto my hair, and I just looked in the mirror and I was like, what are we doing? We have wigs for this.
Yeah.
So I went downstairs. I went to my my wig room.
Girl.
which is what I call my unfinished basement. And I
Which now all basements are called wig rooms.
wig rooms. Yeah, I love that. It's not like a name from a prior time. It's a name that is based on something that nobody uses it for. I put on a wig cap and I picked her out and I said, you're coming with me. And then I did wear this to work, this Western shirt dress moment. And I did also wear these earrings. But then I put this wig on without any makeup and I was like, this is worse. Because let me tell you, if you are in this hair with no makeup on,
Yeah.
I was, ma'am, do you need some help? Like it was,
Yeah, like you're
yeah,
big like Ellen Burstyn in Requiem for a Dream energy. If
yeah,
you know that movie.
yeah. No, it's like I would like to talk about
Exactly.
Madeline Ashton. That's
They
it. It's Death Becomes Her. Like I've just lost it 20 years
are
ago.
doing a remake of Death Becomes Her.
Are they?
Yeah,
I have thoughts.
I know. Me too. Anyways,
It's kind of like when they try to do Animaniacs, and it's like this humor doesn't translate because it's not the 90s anymore.
yeah, and we're not eight.
Mm-mm. Mm-hmm. Although I will always love my favorite line from that movie is when Meryl Streep looks in the mirror and like she's changing into her young self, and then she looks back at the like butler or whoever the person is who let her in, and she's like, "I'm a girl," and I'm like, "Girl, been there." uh,
Tu Wong Fu walked so Death Becomes Her could run. Wait, what came first?
oh, I don't actually know. I feel
Uh-huh.
like Death Becomes Her was definitely in that same era of like we scratched the surface of the absurdity of
Oh,
gender, but
yeah.
we didn't quite figure it out because it's still around.
So
So,
Death Becomes Her was actually 3 years before Tu Wong Fu. So Death
oh,
Becomes Her walked so Tu Wong Fu could run.
how about that?
I send Patrick Swayze or Vita Bohem memes from Tu Wong Fu daily.
To
She
me.
has become my whole personality. To you, to my
Yeah.
boss, to whoever will take them.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
I
love.
can tell by people's responses if I'm going to let them closer into my life. So one person I tried a Tu Wong Fu meme and they're like, "Oh my god, that's one of my favorite movies," and I was like, "Marry me." You know what I mean? And we weren't friends, so it was uncomfortable.
They
And then
don't
other people are like,
realize.
"Oh my god."
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
realize that they're in a friend screening process, but that's what's happening.
But
So,
welcome to making friends in your 30s. It's terrible.
do you like Tu Wong Fu?
That's it. That's the only screening question.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel about Tu Wong Fu and Oregon Pinots? We're good.
I feel
It
like.
tells me so much about you. It tells me about your values.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think, you know what, both of those movies are really good at illustrating the need for a break. It's the most awkward segue, I think, in the history of this show.
Sheriff Dollar.
Yeah, a break from family members, a break from commitments. Just, like let's put that on the shelf and we'll deal with it later. You know what I mean?
You know, here's the thing. So I'm thinking particularly about friend breaks because they're really on my mind lately.
Oh, are we vague booking? Like,
Yes.
I just think it's really funny when.
Give me a meme to put up on my Instagram story. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I've been thinking about.
Yeah.
How some people suck. Or something. I don't know. Whatever people do to Facebook now.
Yeah.
Vague booking comes from Facebook. What is the Instagram version of it? Like the book part is Facebook, right? So, because people used to put up on Facebook when all we had was Facebook children, was like, you know what I mean? Rough day, feeling good.
Yeah.
And changing their relationship from like in a relationship to it's complicated.
Yeah. It reminds me of Dorian Corey from Paris is Burning. Shade comes from reading. You know what I mean? It's kind of like vague booking comes from Facebook. I feel like we've gotten to that point now where we think we're talking normally, and what people are hearing is, well, back in my day, we didn't have the iPad.
That's very true. All right, fair. Anyways, back to my point. I've been thinking about friends and breaks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think one of the things about friends I really enjoy is that I can take breaks from friends and then they like kind of come back into my life. And I don't have a ton of capacity. So I'm also balancing that. And it's not an insult to people, but I just have to kind of figure out where my energy's going.
Oh, that's real.
And like,
mm-hmm.
I feel bad because I think sometimes friends think it's a break up. And I'm like, I don't want it to be that. I just need a break.
And it might be.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this. So I was thinking about breaks in the shower this morning. And
washing your hair.
Washing my hair, which of course is a 3-hour affair, so I had lots of time. And I thought, cut the cameras. Cut the cameras. I was thinking about how going on a break presupposes a commitment or at least an investment. By which I mean, let's say you've been dating someone for 2 months and conversations are okay, but it's like, you're not like, I'm not sure if this will go on forever or not. That to me doesn't sound like a break is one of the possibilities there. It's like either I want it or I don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Same thing with like if you are, let's say you signed up for a random thing. You went to meetup.com and you went to like a queer people walking group,
Mm.
And you tried it for, let's say 3 times. This is your 3rd time going. You might have like had some nice conversations with people. Maybe you saw some folks a couple times while you were there. To me, that doesn't seem like a break scenario. That seems like if you don't like it, you're just going to stop going.
Yeah, I just had that happen in the most Palm Beach way with some golf lessons I took.
I think you could just stop there. We've lost our entire Midwestern audience.
No, so here's what happened.
I'm just kidding.
And I'm really struggling because before my accident, I golfed more frequently. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say I golfed a lot. But do you realize, girl, this Friday is 3 years since my bike crashed.
It's 3 years?
Yeah. So how like middle-aged women feel about their birthdays is like what happens when I get up to September 1st. And I'm like, I've accomplished nothing. Like, you know what I mean? But I was thinking about it and I'm like, I really want to get back to something. I want to make some friends and connect with folks. And I signed up for some lessons through a nonprofit where the money went mostly to charity. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And it was like the symphony. So it was like, oh my God, a nonprofit symphony, golf lessons, all of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And,
yeah.
Besides talking about their these like middle-aged women talking about their investment properties, we got to the end of the 6 weeks and one of them made some comment about me coming to the next concert. And I said, it's in a church.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Said, yeah.
I remember you telling me
about
this.
And I said, I'm not the kind of gay that goes to church. That's not me. And they were like mortally offended. And I'm like, look, like, I was like, I'm a recovering Catholic. And you would have thought I said, I just ate a pile of spiders. Like they scatter. I'm the witch I was. So it's just like kind of like, and then of course they re-engaged and they're like, who wants to do another 6 weeks? And I just left those biscuits on red because I'm like, look, like if you want queer people to come to your events, you cannot have them in churches.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if it's a cheap space. Like you cannot do that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying there's not churches with like welcoming and inclusive things.
Sure, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
But these churches that they chose, they're like, well, it's cheap event space. And I'm like, okay, have you talked to the church about who you're inviting into the space? Because as long as you're having those conversations with the church, that's fine. And if the church is like, we want it, fine. Yeah. But I don't know if you're doing that. And if you don't think you need to do that,
right,
then we already have a disconnect.
If you don't think that you need to do it, then you haven't done it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Right. And like, I know like King Avenue Church in Columbus is like, they're like, trans people come to us.
Yeah. They've hosted Trans Day Remembrance for the last 15 years or something.
Yeah. And they like invented it in Columbus. They're like, we want it here.
Yeah.
Like the King Avenue Church to the Trans Day of Remembrance to trans people is akin to the Hocus Pocus witches and children. Like they're like, come little children. I'll take you away. Like they love
into my garden of magic. How was my enunciation?
Another good. Love it. You know what?
This
Sarah
is Sarah
Jessica Parker.
Yeah, this is Sarah Jessica Parker hair.
Oh my God! And you have to do. She like plays with it like this.
Yeah. I sense children.
Oh my God.
No, I mean, I go to 2 annual events every year that are in churches, but I feel like the King Avenue United Methodist Church, whomst we stan, they've hosted that event for so long, and yet if you're going to invite people who've never been to it before, you also have to do the work of being like, okay, I know that,
Mm-hmm.
this is at a church and you may have some religious trauma, and so you could always decide that this isn't the space for you. That's totally okay. But
Yeah, and you
you,
have virtual options
yeah, yeah,
if people can't even go into a religious space,
right. But
which
that
fucking
doesn't,
rude.
yeah, that just because they've been doing it for a long time doesn't mean you can just skip that, right? Um, the other one is convocation for CCAD. There's a really, really great church next to us called the First Congregational Church, and they have a pride flag outside. When you come inside, they've got a lot of um, they make a point to put in um, like
Wait, are they
programming.
right up? Are they on Broad?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that church is real gay. And they have like Black Lives Matter shit
Yes,
out and
yes,
Trans Lives Matter shit. Yeah,
it is, but also when you go into it, you see like dark woodwork from whenever it was built, the 30s or the 40s or something. And it just, you can't help but notice all of those symbols of like tradition in the way where we haven't been welcome. And so it is really interesting to me to see the students come in because they're like, oh shit. You could see the sort of like trepidation, the worry, like the confusion. And then someone from the church gets up and talks and says like, hey, this church is always open to you. We're really glad to have a continued partnership with CCAD. Um, so it's hard. Like I see both sides of that. I like that this church is reaching out and continually doing the work and
Oh,
partnering with us.
100%.
Yeah, that's great.
100%. But they're doing the work actively. Like they're also like a church that's been involved in immigration work in the city. If I'm thinking of the same church,
yeah, they were the first
that is
white abolitionist church. They were part of the Underground Railroad in Columbus,
right,
which
so
is super cool.
That deep history.
Yeah, and also
I am now.
you kind of look like a church.
That can't be right. You know what I'm thinking about right now? I'm thinking about my breakup with Catholicism.
Oh, tell us about that.
Well, I'm thinking about my mom would call it a break.
Right.
Probably a psychotic break. But when we went back to the Catholic Church together at a family wedding in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Which, by the way, another cousin got engaged, but I don't think I'm going to get an invite, but stay tuned. I think I'm off the list forever now. But
probably the tarot. Sorry, girl.
Sorry about it. But when we went to Madison, Wisconsin for that lovely family wedding, it was a beautiful wedding. I'm so glad we went.
Me too.
Being back in the church, for me, especially being raised there, was like comfort in a weird way, right? Because it's so part of like my map, I don't know, like my map as a child of what it meant to be safe and routine and everything. And like, I just was like fascinated because I'm like, why am I getting any joy out? Not joy, I don't know what to say, like comfort out of it.
Yeah.
From an institution that I would never engage with, give to, support in any way. I'm actually reading a book called The 272 about how the modern Catholic Church literally survived because of slavery. They owned slaves. And that's how the Catholic Church built their wealth in America. So it's not like, but what is it, right? Can you ever break up with your childhood wiring? Or are you always on a break?
I'm going to make a bold claim and say no, you can't. Because,
drink.
Yeah, I think it's kind of always a part of you, and it's kind of like the way I think about mental health, right? I used to think that mental health is something that you manage and then it kind of like goes away,
Yeah.
And it doesn't ever go away. Like my struggle with anxiety and depression is always going to be there. And so I've been trying to make friends with them, or at least like make peace with them. Maybe not friends. I don't know about friends, but we'll
coexist.
Yeah,
right?
We have to, because I don't think that it's realistic for me to be like, I'm gonna work for the day when that's not a factor anymore. because it is. So I think the same thing can be true about your religious upbringing. It's really like difficult to get to a place with that, and I think your implicit biases is another thing, right? Where like you're not going to be rid of that. They're not going to go away. That was part of your formation, and so it's now part of who you are, even if you don't like it. But that doesn't mean that you can't do something about it. You know, like there's a difference between swimming against the current and pretending it's not there, and swimming with the current in like a more productive direction. I don't know. That's a weird metaphor, but we tried it out. Did it land? You be the judge. Call in. Do a poll.
Who has our number?
Yeah. And by call in, we do just mean call our cell phones. We're very lonely. Just say hi.
Please just text us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting like, first of all, I am getting calls from my mom who's like, how's the hurricane? And I'm like, wrong coast, Mom. We're on a different coast. Don't worry about it. And then I'm like, it's terrible. So what do you think is a good break? Like, what do you take good breaks from?
Well, just to address the, like, we usually talk about relationships, and so I'm going to put relationship breaks on a hold because I've never successfully done a break from a relationship. Like, I think we should put a pin in that and come back to it.
Okay.
I think a successful break that I've taken is, like, from performing. I did that last year.
Yeah.
I went, like, 7 months without performing, and at first I was really upset about it. I was really like grieving that thing in my life. And then I sort of like got myself to reframe it as a sabbatical. And it's like, this is a break. Yeah. This is a break that you take so that you can recharge and rebuild that creative spirit, that creative approach. Because I just think when you just go for years and you keep doing it, like I was just done. My creative force was just tapped out.
It's just like a smattering of eyelash glue and sequins,
Yeah. And then that was when, like, the GCAC grant came along and I got a studio, and then the tarot studio thing showed up, and it was like there were some things in the first part of 2023 that I felt like I was more ready for, because I wasn't just in turn the crank, let's perform as much as possible mode. I was like, no, I'm actually rested a little bit, and I can think about focus. I can focus on this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
really
like
cool.
That's like a good break. I don't know about this whole. Yeah. I don't know about the whole relationship break thing. I've never been able to do it successfully.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're a type of person who, as I call, recycles, and I am not. Let me just be crystal clear. When I break up with someone, I break the fuck up with someone. And I make that very clear to anybody I partner with, because I don't need to deal with I don't do that like, oh my God, I think we should break up, but I don't mean it. Like, I don't do that. That's not a space I go to.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging that. What I am saying is, I'm the kind of person that goes back and forth. And because that's really hard on my part. I do think, especially when you're redefining a relationship, if you're going from friend to lover or lover to friend, space can be good. And maybe that's a reframe of the break, because it's not really a break, right? It's like, to your point, hey, I'm still committed to you. I still care about you. We're going through this transition, and we need some space to redefine roles.
Yeah. So here's my other thing about relationship breaks. When do you know that they're done? How do you figure out that they're done? I mean, I
don't know. I think you just have to do check-ins. Like, I think that's right. It depends on what your timeline is. If it's tied to actual physical time, and then you're like, hey, like, we're going to take a break for a few months and let's revisit on this date. Okay. Right? Or whatever the thing is. Let's revisit when you get back from Europe. Let's revisit when you, whatever. I don't know. Like, just, what is time a component to the break? Or is it an emotional thing where it's like, hey, like, let's either one of us reach out when we're ready?
That's the one that worries me, because I wonder, like, this is all hypothetical, right? Yeah, I'm like, you're like, are you getting ready to go on a break? What's happening? No, I just.
Are you breaking with me?
No, absolutely not. You're welcome to try to get rid of me, and I'm here to tell you, good luck.
Girl, I love you even in that wig.
even. Excuse me very much. Excuse me very much. Mm. A word can mean so much.
You're like, Brooke, I have one word for you, dowager.
Yeah. Oh. So the thing that worries me is like that's so subjective. Like when we're feeling emotionally ready for the break to be over, like what if they never reach back out? Then what do you do?
Move on.
I don't like that answer.
I know.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
But I mean.
Well, and I think that's why it's like, hey, let me set a timeline for me, right? And it's like, hey, if I haven't heard from them in 3 months, I'm going to move on, right? And like that's where it's like, not I'm making up these like arbitrary timelines that are bullshit, right? And I think that we've talked about like healing before, and like it feels like it should be linear, and just it's never fucking linear.
No.
You know, but I think what people don't necessarily talk about as much is how backwards you go. Like you go like step 1, step 2, step 1, step 3, step 1. Like you know what I mean? You kind of go through this. It's a meandering path through a meadow. It's not really direct. And I think for me, I can't sit in that limbo. My move is unfortunately to cut you off and be like, okay, well, if I haven't heard from you in this amount of time, you're fine. And I'm good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't sit in that long. And maybe I'm a Scorpio about it. I don't know. But I just can't.
Well, I love that you've brought astrology into the mix because...
Girl, tell me about it. What's happening in the world that's making me such a nutball this week?
Oh, I'm not that good at astrology. My practice is centered in tarot.
Morris?
Yeah, I know.
Michael Morris, get in the chat.
Go to Co-Witchcraft Offerings and book your virtual consultation today with Michael J. Morris, and you will not regret it. What was the question? Oh,
what's happening in astrology that's making me a nutball this week?
Oh yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, girl.
I don't know about that either. Do you think Co-Witch Offerings could be our sponsor?
Possibly.
Do you think if I buy a virtual package?
If you know what? If you don't ask, you'll never know. So maybe we need to take that conversation offline. Oh my gosh. This dress is from eShakti, and I don't think they're ever going to respond to my emails.
Wait, it's a dress?
This is a dress, yeah.
I thought you said it was a shirt. It's a dress?
Well, I don't want to be too extra, but yes, it is a shirt dress. Girl, I wore this dress to work, and it is very short. So I want to prepare you for that. Okay? I did not have this wig. That's it. Yeah. It's pretty short.
That's a sexy shirt dress.
Thanks. It's got pockets.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Is it shorts?
No. That's the placket is coming apart.
Obviously, the placket. There's a word for that. What did you wear shoe-wise? Just curious.
Some black suede loafers.
Okay.
Cute little loafers. I think it looks a lot better sitting down. What I'm not so sure about is the elastic cinch. Also, it's poplin, so it wrinkles really easily. And it's not a stretch poplin.
It's not a stretch poplin.
Yeah.
This fucking biscuit. What? I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna give me a poplin, at least put some elastic in it so it can pull the wrinkles out, because this is, it's very wrinkly. So I haven't quite figured it out. I think it's missing a belt or something.
If I had a nickel for every time I asked for more stretch in my poplin,
Thank you. Finally, we're talking about the issues.
The issues that matter to this country.
Yeah.
I get what you mean, though. Like maybe a thin, light tan belt. Oh, I bought the most awesome jumpsuit that would have gone great with the belt, but I tried it on. It was from a black designer and from Nordstrom. She's fabulous, and it gave me the most epic camel toe. I had to return it.
Oh,
and I told them, I said, I love this designer, but the camel toe is excessive.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think the old woman is like,
I mean,
Anyways.
you could do the drag solution and just layer like 3 to 4 pairs of tucking panties, and then some pantyhose, and then the jumpsuit, and then you'll just look smooth. Secret.
Actually, that's a really good drag tip that I may use.
I think you have to. I think it's good for everyone. I do it all the
Yeah.
time.
We're at, we're at time. Um, my closing words on break. A break is just a one syllable breakup.
Mm, I love that. And my closing thing is a break is just a friend you haven't met yet.
Girl, get
That's
that
a
wig off.
stranger.
Let's break out of the hives on your neck, y'all.
Girl, this is me now. I'm sorry that the world isn't ready, but this is me now. I've completely grown and changed.
I accept you just the way you are, even though you're not in stretch poplin. You know what I mean?
There's that even again. No, no, that's fair. Can I tell you when I said to my partner, "How are we feeling about this outfit?" He said, "Scary." And frankly, the fact that we're still together and not on a break is a testament to my
Yes.
patience and understanding.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you got a few more days till spooky season, girl. So hang in there.
Thank you. Yeah, you as well. We'll get there. All right,
Bye, y'all.
everyone.
Thanks for tuning
See you
in.
next week. Bye.